What's up guys, James here, how you doing? So welcome back to part 2 of my Responding to Creationist comment series. Now what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to take a quick break from responding to comments because I've got a few things I'd like to say and clear up, and also I'll let you know what's coming up in parts 3 and 4. I want to get this out the way now because I want to just get it out the way before I get too heavily involved in the series. So, of course, if you're a creationist watching this, I'll leave a link down below to some of my other videos regarding evolution and the history of the universe. And so hopefully I can educate you a little bit there, and of course you're more than willing to try and change my mind on the subjects as well. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to leave a link to some fantastic books on the subject as well, so you can hear firsthand from scientists what they actually say regarding evolution and the history of the universe, rather than getting your information second-hand and distorted from creationist sources. So of course you're more than welcome to share this video with absolutely anybody you want. Share it with your church, share it on your websites. I'd like to try and get as much exposure as I can from this series. And if you've got a dissenting opinion, fantastic. Just make sure that you're respectful in the comment section, and I'll be respectful to you as well. So in part 1 I showed you a very quick glimpse at an evolution simulator which I started running at the beginning of the video, and what I've decided to do is leave this simulator running through the entire video series so you can see what progress has been made. I'll leave a link to the program down below. It's called 3D Creature Evolution and it's by a guy called Lee Graham. And of course it's entirely open source as well, so you can check out how the program works and make sure that there's no funny business going on. So this is the program in action. What the program does is it starts with a generation of creatures which are randomly created using simulated genetic code, which then forms a collection of connected cuboids and simulates their brain activity, which controls how they move. The program then runs a tournament-based selection process to decide which creatures reproduce, and then creates a new generation using this tournament data and adds random mutations to it as well. There aren't any what I would call true evolution simulators yet, because of the vast amount of processing power needed. The average new PC is barely comparable to the average insect brain, and in order to approximate evolution accurately, you'd need to do this for thousands of organisms at a time, simulate their bodies, genetic code, use accurate physics, energy exchange, and create a believable environment for them to occupy. You'd also have to have the ability to speed the simulation up by about 1,000 times and leave it running for at least a year in order to get any decent results. Such programs are probably at least 30 years away, but the programs which exist today certainly do have their uses within a limited range. One thing I think that this program achieves beautifully is destroying the argument that life is designed because it looks that way. As you can see, it's only been 24 generations, but what's been created so far is beginning to look quite designed already. When you're talking about biological evolution, you're talking about trillions of generations before even multicellular life formed, and population sizes orders of magnitude larger to create far larger genetic diversity and chances for beneficial genes to occur. So yeah, just because something appears to be designed doesn't mean that it is. Just as the Earth appears to look flat, but when we actually examine the evidence we know that this isn't the case. The scientific method protects us from our own preconceptions and superstitions. It explains things that are too big, too small, too fast, too slow, or just too complicated for us to intuitively understand, and it has vast real-world applications which have drastically improved our quality of life. Hopefully I've demonstrated partially that a selection process plus mutation can lead to something which can look extraordinarily well designed. And of course a computer has no creative process. This program is using random data and sheer mathematics and just pure mathematics and physics calculations. So there's no way that a computer can actually design something in the same way that a person does. This does accurately represent the way that evolution works. I'm also planning on making a small video series at some point about other evolution simulators out there, what they do, their potential uses, and their limitations. The scientific word theory is very different from the word we use in common use, which is more akin to the scientific word hypothesis. Scientists scrutinise evolution all the time. That's how science works. Take a hypothesis, design a test which will either support the hypothesis or disprove it. A conclusion is drawn from the results, and then it's peer reviewed to see if there's any flaws in the methodology of the conclusion. If it seems accurate, the results then may be published, and if the data is consistent with other experiments, the hypothesis then may become theory. It doesn't stop there though. New data comes along constantly, and if this data conflicts with the original theory, it is then either discarded, replaced, or modified to fit the new results. And for this reason, science encourages criticism. Evolution has been tested constantly over the last 200 years, and tens of thousands of tests have been thought up, which all back it up, and they back up virtually every aspect of it. The fossil record, radiometric dating, and genetic data all fit together absolutely seamlessly. We have dated fossils which show gradual change in apes, including humans, dinosaurs, birds, whales, horses, and countless more. We've observed positive mutation, and we've also seen new genes, speciation, and multicellular life form in the lab. We have excellent theories about how complex functions could have evolved, such as the eye and sexual reproduction, with examples from nature backing up every single stage. The true story of life is absolutely fascinating and far more interesting than any creation story that has ever been dreamt up. Oh, and before I forget, I mentioned earlier that, treat me with respect and I'll show you the same. So I'll go over a few things which might annoy me. Firstly, asking the same question repeatedly after I've already explained the answer to you. Second, using unwarranted insults or threats of hell. Third, trying to disprove evolution with dumb questions such as, if we evolved from monkeys, why do they still exist? To suggest that myself or no scientist has ever thought to ask such questions is downright insulting beyond belief. So, if you want to ask a question like that, just Google it. So, before you ask a question, please think to yourself, how likely is it that no scientist has ever thought to ask this question? And finally, trying to disprove evolution by going off topic. The Big Bang, stellar formation, and abiogenesis, that's the formation of the first cells, are completely separate theories. Trying to disprove any of these has no bearing on evolution whatsoever, and that would be like me trying to disprove creationism by pointing out inconsistencies in the New Testament. If you can do this, then we aren't going to have any problems. I very rarely use the block button, and I try not to get angry, but I'm not perfect, so if you persist with any of these after I've warned you, I may make an exception. Anyway, I've rambled long enough here. The next creationist I'll be responding to will be a DP Moskula in part 4, but part 3 will be a response to a video he posted about Noah's Ark. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe, post video responses, and I'll be back with part 3 very soon. Bye!